so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right, 12:09. Sorry, we are a few minutes late. Had a quick staff meeting that wasn't long, but still went slightly longer than I expected. But everything's good, positive, and we're ready to roll. Two Guys and a Goalie. And look at this. Look at Reed Wilkins sitting in between us, Gager. Cass, you've lost a ton of weight. You're way shorter. And what happened to your beard?
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Hernan, I don't know if his mic's on, Nan. So you got to have the computer up, right? You got to have that pod up. Let's see. Move that up there. Let's go.
Is my microphone on tonight?
Oh, it is. It's you got it right there on time. Yeah, we're good now. Gager, have you and Reed done a show together?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, several.
We did
what
Two
am I
Guys.
missing? Oh, Two Guys. Yeah, I guess you've done Two Guys.
I've done Two Guys a few times.
Sorry, guys. You've done Two Guys more than me in the last month.
Didn't you did the 600th show, I think.
For Two Guys?
Oh, yeah, I did do some milestone show.
He did the milestone.
You son of a gun.
Yeah.
You son of a gun doing a milestone show. Okay, well then, never mind. Then I thought I was going to talk about that for half an hour. What's it like working with each other for the first time? So this is the first time the three of us have done a show together.
Reed and I have worked together in the past on his old show.
Yes.
Like as a guest, or did you go in?
When Reed finally got to the bottom of the barrel of availability for everyone else in the city and scraping the scum, I'm included in that. And so I would go on Reed's show and we would have a great time. And at the end of it, Reed would say, "Oh, this is so great. We got to do this again soon." I basically waited by the phone for the next 8 months.
Yeah.
And then would get another call.
That's mostly true.
At least he didn't stalk you.
I don't
at Canadian
remember.
Tire.
Who did you do that to?
My stalking came way before that.
Dustin stalked Gage?
No.
Oh.
He stalked me.
I stalked Dusty a little bit. Well, it seemed like I did because I introduced
Have
myself.
you heard how we met? Him and I met?
No, I haven't.
Routine installation.
No. The first time was at you were calling a Bears game.
What?
Yes.
I thought it was when you came to install the cable.
No. Jeez.
Well,
Dusty,
sorry,
this is-
Gager. Damn.
So everyone,
Horrible luck. My bad.
this is how it went. I saw you doing and I was friends with Kent Simpson because we played on Team Canada together. And I thought I heard Kent do color one of those games with you. So I go, "Hey, is Kent gonna?" And then you introduce yourself as Dusty, and hey, I listened to you, blah blah blah. And I was sitting there watching the Bears game because I went to go see Herbie, and then the next day, I saw you at Canadian Tire. It was the next.
But when did you install?
Or no,
my
it was the next
cable?
week when you asked me to.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Wait, no. What?
yeah.
I thought you randomly came over to install the cable.
I
and we
think
looked at each
I
other.
did
awkwardly.
randomly come. I got your work order.
Yes.
That's what happened. But it was So that was the
Okay.
third time I had met you.
Oh man, I feel awful today.
But then
I always thought we met
you're
at my
right.
house that first
I got
time.
it mixed up because I did
That's okay.
No, I met you first at the U of A game.
Okay.
And then the random cable installation.
And
then
then
the
Canadian
next
Tire.
day I saw you at Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
And then you said, "Hey, you should come on the show." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And so you said, "Come on this time," and everyone came on, but I wanted to see the inner workings, so I showed up like
This guy, so I'd be like, Gage, you want to pop in? Come by the studio around 8:20. And we'd be getting ready to do the show at 5:40. And he'd text me, be like, "I'm outside." And he'd just come on and do the whole show.
Well, I didn't mean to. I
that's
wanted
eager.
to see. I was interested to see how everything worked. I thought I'd just sit there and watch. I was curious, and then you asked me a question, and then I just hit the button, and the rest is history.
That's pretty cool. I don't remember the first time you and I talked. It probably was 10 years ago, if not longer.
Yeah, and I think it was a special event.
Oh, maybe.
I think it might have been coinciding with Ryan Smith's retirement.
Oh,
And-
maybe. Yeah, that's
and I
possible.
came on then, and because I was doing the rounds of a bunch of shows, and I think I did a bunch in one day, and I believe you. I ended with you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing that.
Well, thanks for remembering, guys.
Rip City Step over in the chat says, now that Gage and Damon Bunting are best friends, is Gage now a Jags fan? Because Bunting's a big Jags fan. Did you know that about your new best friend?
Well, I'll see when I go over there with my new jersey on Sundays to watch with Damon.
Yeah.
Go Jags, go baby.
Mark Brunell. Get a Mark Brunell
Yeah.
jersey. Or Fred Taylor. Wasn't he the good running back?
With the Jags?
Yeah. Didn't they have a running back with a
They
very
had Maurice Jones-Drew.
I thought they had a guy named Fred Taylor.
Well, Fred
Just
Taylor was a running
most-
back, but
The most mundane American former running football
Frank
back.
Gore? No.
Fred Taylor.
Was he a Jag?
Yes, 9th overall, 1998.
Good work, Reed.
Well, Wikipedia.
God.
Maybe I'll go get his jersey.
And then he went to New England. 9th overall, 1998. Do you remember who went first overall?
In 98?
Yeah.
And NHL, I could, but not NFL.
I'll give you a hint. He's one of the greatest players of all time.
No.
What team
wow.
took him?
Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah, damn. Sorry, man. Peyton Manning. That's a bad look.
I know I just irritated. Oh, Brady's better. Okay, settle down. I said one of everybody. Like the Brady fans are more psycho than you are with LeBron.
Thanks, man.
Like and you're pretty psycho with LeBron. Don't get me wrong. But like like if you compliment, if you're around a Patriots fan and you're like, hey, Peyton Manning played some. Oh, we have a Brady. Okay, settle down. More than one team can have a good quarterback.
I was a
Okay?
huge Manning guy. And
So
that
was
whole
I.
Brady Manning thing, I was a Manning guy.
It was Manning for the first half of their career. And I think Manning also revolutionized to some extent the quarterback position because I think he basically became the assistant offensive coordinator for the team. I
100%.
think it was him. I believe it was that version of the Colts. If they didn't start it, I think they started doing it regularly, where he would get 3 plays in his headset to call, and then he would look at the defense, and then they'd say, okay, we're doing this one. I think they would give him 2 runs and a pass, and he would say them all in the huddle, and then when they get to the line, he'd be like, hey, we're doing play B.
Yeah.
And so I think he sort of
Really?
something like that.
That's
yeah,
unreal.
and he was the one when they went 1-15 his first season. He never came out of the game.
Yeah.
He always wanted to be in because he said every snap I learned something, even if it's a kneel down. I might see some guy doing something that tells me he's not taking it seriously, and I burn him someday or whatever. Anyway,
But the Brady Manning thing, and I didn't want to bring up the LeBron comparison, but the Brady Manning thing, I think is like that's another reason why ring culture isn't the best way to measure something, because Peyton Manning's just as good as Tom Brady, if not better. And yeah, Brady won. What, he won 7? Got 7 titles. Is it Peyton Manning's fault he didn't win 7 titles, or is it the situation they're in? It was Bill Belichick that you know what? To me, they're a lot closer than 5 rings separating them. Is that not fair? Don't you think?
yes.
Like from an abilities perspective.
I think so because the nature of football, there's essentially 2 teams on a football team. There's offense and defense, and both have to be on the same page. Like
Good point, yeah.
It's hard to do, but if you're looking at pure ability, yeah, Peyton, they were both great quarterbacks, but there was nothing quite like Peyton Manning down by a score with the way he dissected defenses. Like once he found a weakness, he just like they both did a great job of it, but he exploited defenses when he found their deficiencies and just cut them up even more. He was a surgeon back there.
But yeah, you give the Colts a couple better defenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
But,
Like, that's
still,
what I mean.
that's sports. You also have to be in the right place at the perfect time.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And Eli beat Brady twice. So still,
Is he better?
Still got
That's
owned by
still
the Mannings.
amazing, eh?
I know. It's
That Eli
hilarious.
Manning won as many Super Bowls as Peyton Manning.
That is funny. Hey, I want to get to okay, let's flip over. We'll talk some hockey here. Where's the one? And Cass Cass is, here we go. Coach Mike says that Cass isn't with us today. He had a big meeting come up last night.
Yeah,
you were on that text, eh?
Yeah.
He said a meeting that he'd been trying to get for 2 years. Finally got a call last night, so he had to bail today, and Reed stepped in.
for him.
He says, did Cass ever yell bang when he punched guys in the NHL? And that would have been a good one. Everybody obviously is talking about that Tarnowski video.
Yeah, right.
Where, did you watch the extended cut?
I didn't watch the extended. I heard about
The
it.
extended cut made it seem even more apparent that the guy deserved what happened to him. But for Tarnowski to have him, and I covered him when he was in Lethbridge. I was covering the Hurricanes at the time, and he was a pretty tough dude. One of those guys who didn't have to fight a ton just because he was like, you knew he's a big he was like a man in the dub. And but when he's yelling bang, bang, I was like, oh my God, he's yelling out bang as he hits this guy, but kind of unnecessary. But then I had it in the notes here today. I said, what is the craziest thing that you guys in person have ever seen on a golf course? Like we're not going to be around that a lot.
Nothing that.
But is there anything that you've seen on a golf course that was even memorable? I've golfed for 25 years. Every single round has just been like, I mean, outside of Normology ripping his shirt off yesterday or 2 days ago at the tourney, it's usually pretty calm and cool. But Gage, you ever had anything like that?
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's probably R-rated. Remember the Coors Light used to have that tournament way back when and it was like industry night.
Okay.
And they had it at Blackhawk, and I went out there, and there was a lot of like just bikinis and hot tubs, and that was a weird tournament.
Really?
Yeah, that was
So
really.
you saw things that shouldn't be happening.
And
Really?
and that one hole where it's a huge drop at Blackhawk. I think 2 of the carts ended up at the bottom of that little ravine.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it was
God.
It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I didn't feel good at that tournament.
Right, nothing.
I'm trying to think.
I don't really have anything. I don't
like
think.
certainly
Not like
never
that.
a fight. I know. I remember this. I think it's called the Rolling Green. It was kind of like there was the Lloyd Golf Club, which was nicer, and Rolling Green was kind of more of a pasture. And I was with 2 or 3 other guys, and it was a short hole with a bit of an elevated tee, and we were waiting, and we were like, "Oh, they must be gone." And these trees stuck out in the middle of the fairway, and we drove. One of us hit, and then these guys walked out, and the ball landed near them, and they started yelling at us, and we were like, and then we drove up, and they kind of waited for us and yelled at us a bit, and we were like, we literally couldn't see you, like you were behind the trees. We waited several minutes, and then one guy kind of, but it never felt like he was going to get physical. So I like that was. Like I struggle to think of anything wild like that I've seen even at a tournament. I mean, usually it's just, you got to tee off with, you got to tee off left-handed instead of right. Like, to see a fight like that, I would be stunned.
I do the annual trip up to like Radium, and we'll get up to Grey Wolf and stuff in the spring. I've had the old bear on the green type of thing. And then that one, you just go, mark me down for a par. Let's get out of here.
Let's go. So
there'll be a lot of holes where like some of those deep ones at Grey Wolf, I'm like, please be a bear on the green. I'm already 6 strokes in. We always say if there's a bear, you get a par. I'm dying for a bear on the green there.
It was the Coors Light Maxim golf tournament.
Somebody said the Maxim golf tournament. Yeah.
Major. Wow.
Okay, well, that's going back to the days of Maxim magazine.
Maxim magazine, right? So yeah.
Oh wow. I have a good video from one of our trips where one of our buddies couldn't make it, and I was trash talking. I said, and we were drinking, you could hear tunes blaring, and I was like, if you like golf, you're gonna love this shot. And I step up to hit it, and I swing out of my boots, and I miss the ball. The ball goes like this far. I turn around, I take 3 stumbles back, and I smash I fall, and I smash my shoulder into the front left side of the cart. And it's just boom, and then I'm just down, and I'm out. That's probably the craziest. That was a great week. That was a great trip. All right, we're going to... number crunches, we're going to look at the numbers of Savoy and Junior and the American League compared to Ike Howard in college. We'll get to that. But just, I know we would have all talked about this the last little while, but 2 guys and goalie, a bit of a different audience at different times. And I think the conversation around Howard here, and some of you, there's some text messages already flying in, 780-218-9999. Like, let's just use this text, no handle on it, but let's use this text as a jumping point for this conversation. It says, realistically, how long of look does Ike Howard get in the NHL before he could get sent down if it's not working like Rutger McGroarty? And I mean, I think one of the reasons he's here is because the Oilers probably promised him a job in the National Hockey League, but Reed, I mean, what have you thought of some of the expectations that are popping up around this guy already?
I think it's reasonable to expect him to be a good player, even as a rookie. I mean, he's 21, and I mean, for being drafted in 2022, you should be on an NHL roster by 2025 or 2026. That's not unrealistic, especially since he was a first rounder.
So not a classic rushing scenario.
No, I don't think he's being rushed at all. And I think, and we had Drew Menda on the show yesterday, and he talked about this too, that the NCAA and the Big Ten has become heavy. You got to play on the inside. You got to play rugged hockey. I mean, it's become a training ground for the National Hockey League. Now, the flip side is, and a listener pointed this out yesterday too, is 37 games versus almost an NHL style schedule in the Western Hockey League.
It's a lot different, yep.
I mean, the travel is even harder in the WHL than it would be in the AHL, because in the AHL, don't they just play in their division most of the time? So that is a little bit of a difference. But having said that, in the NCAA, it's practice, hone your skills, really, really be in shape, and then go play on Friday and Saturday. So I don't think it's unrealistic to expect Howard to be in the NHL. I think it's unrealistic for him to be the perfect winger now for whoever, but I don't think it's unrealistic for him to be able to score, again, maybe in that 13 to 17 range that we're hoping for other
reasonable.
Guys.
Yeah.
So the first thing that comes to mind when I think of NCAA guys is they're good hockey players. They're a little bit older when they turn pro, for the most part. So there's the maturation process, body, everything, the way they think the game is at a higher level than a lot of major junior guys. Yeah, because they're younger. I remember my first year playing. It was the first lockout season, and Todd Marchant and David Oliver. I believe David Oliver was a nominee for the Hobey Baker that year. He didn't win it, but he was nominated. Anyways, I found, and this was throughout my whole North American side of my career, where guys coming out of college were great until Christmas time. Because as soon as they got to Christmas, that was basically what they played in a season before, right?
Yeah.
So, and then there was a big drop off. Like they were tired. They're not used to playing that many games that hard, so close back to back, and they got out of it and got used to it. But there was a little bit of a dip at that point. So I'm curious to see how Ike can do. I look to young players making a difference, and it's not the best comparison, but maybe like Stankhoven and the other Wyatt Johnson, I believe, in Dallas. Like they started on the third, fourth.
They get thrown into it right away.
Yeah. So that's what I would like to see possibly with those guys. Not, and I think Nanso said it yesterday. Not giving them the position right away. Have them earn it a little bit. But anytime you're talking about someone from junior or NCAA to come in and immediately be productive and a difference maker in your top six of your team, that's usually a team that's not competing for a Stanley Cup championship.
It's a bit of a different. You're right. That's true, though. I mean, that's a bit of a different situation. Yeah.
So, but if there's a progression and you can see that, and they finally get to that point, perfect, man. If you can get two young guys that on entry level deals, all the good teams seem to do it. The Oilers are poised for something like that to happen, but I'm always hesitant at that level. It takes time.
Well, it never happens for the Oilers either. Well, no, but the Oilers really, and I just looked up their rookie scoring records. They've never really had an unexpected rookie season from somebody.
Okay, I like that.
I mean, yes. Well, maybe Yari Curry was a bit of an unknown in 80-81 when he got 75 points. I mean, Arnott got 68. He was a high pick.
Yep.
Lomley got 58, but this is ancient history with some of the guys. So Nuge had 52 points in 62 games, but he was a number one overall pick. that's the 5th best rookie season in Oilers history.
He was injured too. wasn't he?
Right. Eberle and Hall got to 43 and 42 points respectively. I mean, maybe you got to go to Tom Gilbert getting 33 points in 07-08. Oliver had 30 points in 44 games. That was a shortened season, right?
Yeah.
So I think, yes, you don't want to put unrealistic expectations on them, but if you look around the NHL, there are rookies who do better than the Oilers rookies have. And maybe one of these two guys or both will be that guy.
Where do you believe in the old their due theory?
Yeah.
I was just
The
going to
law of averages. Yeah.
Were you thinking that same thing?
yeah. Oh, you're telling me they're due.
Hey, quickly, I want to come back around. David Oliver, 94, one of the 10 finalists for the Hobie Baker. Do you remember who won it?
Ooh.
Probably not.
When you say, who was it?
Chris Marinucci.
Where did he play? I played against
Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah.
But Craig Conroy was a finalist. David Oliver, Jamie Ram. I remember Jamie Ram. Yeah. And then Dwayne Rollison.
Really?
And Steve Shields.
And Shieldsy.
Yeah.
He was at Michigan too with Oliver.
Shields was at Michigan with Oliver. So was Brian Wiseman. There were 3 Michigan guys who were actually nominated for the Hobie, or a finalist for the Hobie Baker Award.
Wiseman didn't win it?
No, why?
Well, everybody says he was like the most talented guy ever, but just was too small.
Yeah, he did. He did not win it.
He had like an insane.
Paul Correa won it the year before.
Yeah, he played with the Ferraro brothers too, right? In Maine.
Who?
I think Paul Correa.
Which Ferraro brothers?
Both of them. Peter and Chris.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, wow.
Twins.
Oh, Correa was really good. So just back around to the whole acquisition of Ike Howard. It comes, a week after these meetings with McDavid. Reed, do you think this would have been mentioned that, hey, we're working on this. We think he can play top 6. We're going to have him on an entry-level deal. Like, do you think this is something that they would have tried to use to impress?
That's a good question.
To impress Connor.
I think they would have told him that it was going on.
Yeah.
And that they're going to have to keep looking for players like this. It's really interesting how you put that they're to impress Connor. I mean, it's almost as if you're suggesting the Oilers are recruiting their own player.
Yeah. I mean,
at this point.
You kind of are, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a straight. This is. I don't know if you want to talk about the McDavid stuff, but the way you put that, the way you put that was interesting. I viewed it as a sell job, right? Were they not going to be like, "Here's the plan, please stay with us"? That's how I always sort of imagined it. Yeah, it might be a little bit like that, but I mean, Draisaitl is signed, so that's a big part of the plan right there. I mean, I wonder if this might be a bit of a retooling season, as opposed to them being perceived as a top contending. Just a playoff. Like a year ago already, people were picking them, I guess, or Nashville. Yeah. to do very well out of the West. And now it seems like, well, the Oilers aren't going to be as good. I mean, I could see McDavid signing maybe a 4 or 5 year deal into his early 30s. I don't think he's going to just sign a 1 or 2 year extension. I don't think he's going to go to free agency or want to be traded. But yeah, I would think that they would want to tell McDavid, we're going to work at finding talent elsewhere because we have to keep using first round picks as trade bait. Yeah. As trade capital, right? I mean, how many in a row are going to be and even a couple of guys they've drafted, now O'Reilly and Schaefer in the first round, have then subsequently been traded, right? So I would this is total spec. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to be in McDavid's shoes, to sort of have that where you're a player, but you still need to have the plan outlined for you by your boss, basically, because he's such a valuable part of the team. But I would think if they were going to sit down and talk about the direction of the organization, then I would think Bowman or Jackson or whoever would have to say, we are going to pursue any guys. Like, we're not going to turn our eye away from the NCAA, from Europe, from Junior A, whatever. I would think they would have to tell him that. I don't know if they would go to him and say, "Oh, what do you think of Isaac Howard? Here's some tape." I don't know. I don't know. I don't think McDavid would be interested in watching
Can
that.
this guy play on your wing?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
They want Sam O'Reilly.
Right.
Gager, how much of a sell job do you think the whole meeting was? Like,
Yeah, that's.
or is it more just like give us some input on stuff? Or
The amount of power a player has to have, or how his skill level ability has to be so high for the management of the organization to come and while you're under contract and present you with their 5-year plan. Right, that's amazing to me. Now that I think about it, that's probably what that whole meeting was just we're bringing these guys in. I do agree with Reed. I think this is kind of a retooling year.
when you guys say retooling, let's just
Not
pause
a
on that for a second.
playoff team.
Not a playoff team?
No, a playoff team.
Jeez,
a
I thought you
playoff
said
team.
not a for
No.
a second.
This is a playoff team.
So you're thinking like third or a wild card spot?
Yeah.
But then
But
again,
once
they
you get
just
to the
finished
dance-
third.
But that
Once you
doesn't
get to the
matter
dance.
because what was it? 10th and 11th got to the finals this year.
Overall, yeah, or
Overall,
11th and
right?
13th or
so
something.
it really
yeah.
doesn't matter. And what they've proven over the last 2 years with that core group, that home ice isn't that big a deal.
Right.
So
Yeah. They're not as highly perceived as they were a year ago. Because, okay, what happened last year? Well, we're going to bring back the whole team and add Arvidsson and Skinner. And it was thought at least one of those guys would work out.
yeah.
Now, their goal totals were right in that mid-teen area that we're talking about with
Yeah,
these
I
other
know,
players
yeah.
who are replacing
I know.
them. But obviously, there were some other issues with their games. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard to think about what the roster is going to look like in the playoffs. And then, playoff hockey is so different. And I don't know. I mean, did LA get better? Maybe they're the same. Vegas, we'll see what Marner does, but they won't have Pietrangelo anymore.
Not till playoffs.
So how do you know the Oilers don't all of a sudden finish first in the division with this supposedly weaker team?
Yeah. If anything, it seems like the Edmonton Oilers did learn from their mistakes by trying to win the cup in July, right? They've kind of, although they don't have any cap space, but they've looked to get at least younger and set themselves up for more success. Like if you do go on Puckpedia and look at other teams, they've set their teams up to be able to manage the cap and add or subtract players depending on where they are throughout the regular season. They just seem to have way more options, whereas the Oilers are going to have to wait for another calendar year until there's, it depends on Connor's contract, I guess, but until then, you won't know where everyone lands. Obviously, you'll have Henrique coming up. I mentioned before that Jack Campbell, unfortunately, does get a raise, but
That's right.
there might be a little bit more capital to make a difference and make the team better. But again, how many times have you heard like a lot of the experts say you have to have at least a few of your really good players come in on and still on entry level deals to be successful?
Okay, let me just quickly on the McDavid meeting or whatever for one more second. And then we'll come back around to Savoy and Howard. Gong Show over on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube today and you haven't yet subbed to the channel, please do. And of course, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, just fire us a text, 780-218-9999, and we'll get to more of that. Actually, I'm going to tie two together here because Gong Show says, what do you think Bowman's sell job to McDavid was about the goaltending? And then Luciano, Hernan's nephew, texts in and says, correction, Stuart Skinner had the best rookie season as an Oiler, being nominated for for the Calder.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good
that
point.
is kind of a good point. So kind of together, but Gage, let's say you're the goalie here. What do you? Hey, does that comes up right in the conversation, right? Don't you think?
No, I don't think it does.
So if you're Connor and they're
Unless
sitting there
Connor
being like,
asks.
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, do
But
you
I
think
don't
Connor
think
would
he's
be like,
the kind of guy that goes, "What are you going to do about our goaltender?"
yeah, what do you do about Stu? It seems like a dick thing to ask.
It does.
But if you're trying to figure out if you're going to be able to win a Stanley Cup in the next 5 years, I don't think it's an unfair question.
No, but Connor, pick up the late guy coming off the bench too. Right?
Yes, exactly.
That is a good point.
That's exactly true.
You are right. He did leave the one guy and that one. Yeah, Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, yeah,
That's the goaltender in me.
That's a good one.
Here's what I would want to say to Gong Show and some people. This will just be the old Wilkie belief. Okay. I know everybody gets excited or worried about this Bowman meeting with McDavid. Did it happen already or not even happen yet?
I think they did.
I think they had it. Yeah, they had it.
I don't think. I'm going to exaggerate here, but I want to put it this way to point out the absurdity of it. I don't think this was Stan Bowmaning opening up his laptop and looking at the Oilers roster on HockeyDB and going to Connor. Okay, what do you think of this guy? Okay, next guy's Nuge. What do you think of him? Okay, next leading scorer was Bouchard. What do you think of him? I don't think. I think these were very philosophical, somewhat 30,000 feet discussions. Where I don't think Connor would say, I hate Reed Wilkins and Joaquin Gage because their socks stink and they only combined for 12 goals. I'm assuming we're now line mates.
I don't even wear socks.
You're not a goalie anymore. I think this is more Bowman saying, Connor, I feel we lost the Stanley Cup final because Florida maybe got in our heads a little bit and we got pushed around. Mm-hmm. And then McDavid could say, yeah, Stan, I don't know if they got in our heads. We're a pretty veteran team. It might have looked like that, but that's not how we felt in the room. Having said that, there were times on the bench I felt like we needed a little more response to some of their antics. That's how I think it would go. I don't think Connor would say, sign Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
I want this guy. I don't think he's that personality. I think these would be more like, what's the direction of the team? What's an element that's missing as opposed to a specific player? So again, I don't think McDavid's personality is to crap specifically on the goalie. And I mean, I think McDavid is also smart enough to realize what Skinner's high end was and what Pickard's high end was and some of the goalies that they stared down and beat. I mean, I think Bowman would sort of initiate the topics and then see how Connor reacted to them. Maybe Bowman would say, there were a couple times I felt like there were deflating goals that went in that Bobrovsky didn't give up. That's kind of the more professional way to say it. And then Connor could say, we don't need Bobrovsky's in net. We don't, we can't get that, but we need, and then Bowman sort of reads off that. And maybe he's thinking, maybe Connor speaks for Draisaitl and Emerson Bouchard as well in some ways.
I think it's probably reasonable to think that he does. Yeah.
Yeah. The meeting, it's not a full, I don't think it's a presentation meeting. Maybe 20% of that meeting is a little bit of a presentation, but I think 80% would go to the information gathering of Connor McDavid. If I was the GM, I would be trying to make Connor McDavid talk and let him tell me how he thinks the team, the direction that they were going, and where were the deficiencies that he thought, without, probably saying names or whatever. But that's how because he's already on a contract. What are you going to, I don't think there's not much to present to him. You already have him under wraps here. Obviously you want him to sign again, but I would go there wanting to see his views of the team and just then I can make my adjustments from there.
It's Two Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by GS Construction. They are hiring right now. Become part of the great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your careers to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction today. I talked briefly to the Sandman, and then he came over and said goodbye. But I wanted to saddle up at the table there. I saw you and Tommy and Turan.
Yeah.
That looked like a fun time.
Yeah. The only thing working harder at that table was Turan Sandwich shorts, because those were a pair of the tightest shorts I've ever seen. But
they were kind of tight, weren't they?
Oh my gosh, he was all quadzilla when he stood up.
Did he mean to do that?
Oh yes.
Okay, that's the thing of his?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, if you want to work for an absolute beauty, they are always hiring at GS Construction. Check them out, www.gsconstruction.ca. Let's get into the number crunchers here for Play Alberta. We've just been absolutely peppering them with CFL parlays. There's 5 different things up right now. We put so Maddie and I, we got plus 335. Nathan Rourke, 2 passing TDs. Bo Levi, 2 passing TDs. And Dedrick Mills, anytime touchdown at plus 335. That's one of the ones. That's the one that just went up. The DJ and Den's grandest parlay is up as well at plus 1527. Those guys know no bounds. Use your game sense when you're playing at Play Alberta. What you play with at Play Alberta stays in Alberta. All right, so let me run these by you. What numbers do you think are more impressive, Gager?
Okay.
Isaac Howard, 3 years in college, started at Duluth. Things didn't go well there. 17 points in 35 games. That was the year after he was drafted 31st overall. Then he moved to Michigan State, put up 36 and 36. And then this past year, he put up 26 goals and 26 assists, 52 points in 37 games. Matt Savoy, as a rookie in the Western League, had 90 points in 65 games, 35 goals. Then had 95 points in 62 games, 38 goals. And then his final year was split between a game in the NHL, 6 games in the AHL, 11 games with the Wenatchee Wild, and then 23 games with the Moose Jaw Warriors. And in Moose Jaw and Wenatchee combined, he played 34 games, had 30 goals, and 71 points. And then this year, as an American League rookie, put up 54 points in 66 games. So what would it, let's just say, I think because of all the excitement of Howard, we're forgetting how good Savoy was Western League offensively. Like he did whatever he wanted in the WHL, but 54 points in 66 games as an American League rookie, or 52 points, 26 goals in 37 games in your 3rd year in college at Michigan State.
It's way more impressive in the American League.
You think so, eh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the goaltenders are better. You're getting probably a lot of journeyman defensive players that you're playing against, bigger, stronger, faster, have played pro for a lot more longer period of time. And there's way more games. That's the other thing. There's to be able to continue a consistent performance at the pro league level is more I don't care. It's more impressive than the NCAA at this point. Now, the progression of Ike is interesting to me. Like every year he's gotten better.
Pretty good jump.
That's great. Like that's what you want to see. But I don't care who you are. As soon as you start playing against men with kids and families and stuff,
and
it's just different. I remember my first few games in the American League, and it was just like, oh my God, like that guy's got a full mustache. I remember it was Rich Chernamaz. He played for the Baby Leafs, and he was taking the draw, and he looked at me, and it was like, oh. I was like,
I think he's a mustache guy.
Yeah, it was just a full mustache, and you knew he could grow a beard in like an afternoon. And so there's just different things, the way they talk and how everyone does their thing and the communication level. It's a different game. He's going to have to adjust. I wouldn't expect him to set the world on fire. But is he capable? Yes, because he's shown progression over the last 3 years. So, but you're going to have to wait and see.
Reed, what do you think? What jumps out? You've covered a lot of guys coming in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think Savoy's numbers are pretty impressive if you look what he did in the AHL. And Noah Philp said something when we had him on the day he signed his contract. He said something about, I can't remember the word he used, but I think it even been just how much more organized it is in the NHL.
Okay.
Like if a guy is supposed to make a 12.5-foot saucer pass, he makes it every time. That's not the example.
Yeah.
But, they're never out of position rarely. Like everything's by the book. So Savoy scored where maybe he could take advantage of that with other teams, but maybe on his line, he didn't always have people reading the play as well as he would either.
Yeah, that's true.
I just wonder, and I do think Savoy is a very tantalizing prospect. I mean, let's not forget how high he was drafted, like ninth overall.
Ninth overall. He was drafted higher.
Is pretty impressive.
Than Howard.
I just wonder, given their size, if Howard might be able to play a heavier game in the NHL, but Savoy will still be very productive longer term. Like to me, they're both very, very interesting prospects who might wind up excelling in different ways.
Savoy went 22 spots higher in the same draft.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, no, that's you mentioned. I think I remember you talking. It was Philp, right, that said that it is the adjustment for sometimes, especially for D-men, I would say, from the American Hockey League to the NHL is almost like a breath of fresh air, because even though the American League's professional, there's a little bit more chaos. There's more mistakes, obviously. When for a defenseman coming into the NHL, it's almost you get the puck, get behind the net, everyone's where they're supposed to be, right? And okay, I've got that 10-foot pass, I've got that 15-foot pass that I'm able to make because the players are always in good position. Even from a goaltending standpoint, it's quicker, faster. Guys can put the puck where they want, but it's a lot more organized. Forwards, I think it might be a little bit different, but that's what I would say. They would recognize the caliber of player. Just the hockey IQ is obviously a lot higher for those guys. So maybe they'll find it a little bit easier to get into the NHL or play or succeed, because they obviously they do think the game at a higher level than most.
You know what? From this draft class, really only two guys have popped. Slavkovsky went first overall. He's played 200 games. He's got 111 points. Logan Cooley went third overall. He's got 109 points in 157 games.
He's good.
I mean, Shane Wright, who was supposed to go first overall in that draft, he's only played 95 games over the last few years. Cutter Gauthier's played 83 games. Mintukov's a defenseman in Anaheim. He played 131 games. Rutger McGroarty hasn't really got it. Frank Nazar's okay. He's played 56 games. But like these guys are just starting to get to that level, right? So even if it takes another year or two for these guys to, sort of significantly, this is why the retooling thing for next year, I mean, I don't think that's a crazy negative take. I think it's kind of reality. You're going to have two guys from the 22 draft who are going to be playing probably top 9 minutes for you, right? So you're going to have reasonable expectations, I think, for both those kids and the team. If
you redrafted this draft, Lane Hudson would go in the top 5. He went 60. He went 62nd.
If you redrafted this draft, would he go first overall?
Oh, he might. Yeah.
There's Slavkovsky and Cooley. He's got the third most points from this draft, but it's only played 84 games.
Right.
And then like Shane Wright, Mintukov. I think he might. Basically, would you rather have Slavkovsky or Lane Hudson? Hudson.
Yeah, Habs have both. Teams would rather have Hudson because he's a defenseman.
Yeah. So I think he'd go first overall. Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't realize that. 22 spots higher for Savoy than Howard. And like this trade for Howard, everybody's just been like, oh my God, it's going to change everything.
Well, I think it helps. I think
it definitely helps because it's an upgrade on what they gave up and fast forwarded the timeline a little bit, right? Like,
yes.
You won't know. I mean, this trade, I guess the only way to measure it is what, like 5-6 years from now? See how it goes? Even probably more.
Yeah. Like in 3-4 years, we'll have a feel.
Yeah.
But you got to see how it's going to play out. Because I think O'Reilly actually would be a really good fit in
so too.
In Tampa as well. So that's a good one. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9. I want to ask you guys this because Reed, Cass, and Gage and I, especially keeping this going through the pandemic, we talked a lot about television that we watch and things like that. So F1 came out. Have you seen it, Gager?
The movie?
Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, okay. It was awesome, right?
Yeah.
I heard it's incredible.
Did he win in the end? Well, don't tell me.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
No, I won't.
And then
go see it in IMAX though.
Okay.
Rainey gave me crap for not going and seeing it.
Okay.
IMAX.
Oh, really?
I gotta go. So I have to go see that in theaters. The new Jurassic Park one just came out.
So it was great. Everyone.
Well, it made like $350 million opening weekend.
Yeah,
they always do.
Yeah,
but I want to go see that one. And then we've got Superman comes out tonight, and then Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Reed, which one are you most excited for out of these? Like even the next two.
Well, okay, not the Jurassic.
Yeah.
I'm not into that series.
Did you like the first one at least?
No.
You didn't even like the
It
original?
was okay. I mean, there's dinosaurs,
It's one of
whatever.
the coolest movies ever.
It's fine.
When it came out, it was.
But it's
very-
just like, why keep going to these islands?
Fair enough. I mean, stay away from
I
the
think I
islands.
saw the first 2 Jurassic Parks of the original trilogy, and
Yeah.
I think I saw the first Chris Pratt one.
Yeah.
Because I like
Chris
him.
Pratt's cool. It was okay.
But even they're just the same. I was excited for Megan 2.0, but the reviews have been terrible, so I'm not going to go. Of the ones you listed, I would say I'm most excited for Superman
It's been getting good reviews.
because I think James Gunn is brilliant. I love his sense of humor. Even if you go back several years, one of his early movies was a film called Slither, which is just like this bizarre horror comedy film. Guardians of the Galaxy, great trilogy.
Yeah,
I mean, the
brilliant
first
stuff.
Guardians movie is one of the best Marvel movies. Peacemaker, the TV series. Like if you don't have a sick sense of humor, don't watch it. But if you're like
forgot
me
about
and
that.
you're a little weird, but it's still a comic book story. And then just him and then the Suicide Squad movie that he did was hilarious and very good. Like the giant starfish was the villain.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. No, but I thought I saw some mixed reviews about Superman 2 where people were saying he crammed so much into it.
Oh, really?
Like he wanted to put so many secondary characters and little storylines in it. I do want to see the Fantastic Four movie because I like Marvel and they botched the first 3 that they tried to make.
Yeah.
I've already seen some people hating on it. But the reasons I've seen people hating on it is because they said the women have too big of a role.
Oh, well, then.
And I'm like, well, okay, that's no reason just to hate it.
Yeah.
If they're not well-developed characters, or it's like the Ghostbusters with all the women. It wasn't a very good movie, but it's not because there were women in it.
No.
It's because they
just
didn't,
wasn't
they
done
didn't
well, yeah.
write it for. So I know there's some of this, and I know Disney gets all this. Well, they're too woke and they're trying to just make everything about women or whatever. But like the female characters should be strong characters. I don't have a problem with them being strong characters. So I take that with a bit of a grain of salt. Like, is it just backlash because they gave the Invisible Woman a personality? Like, I don't know.
Well, the Silver Surfer's a woman too, but if
Right.
anything, if you're a real Marvel crazy person like I think you are too, Reed, and Dusty. to
Yeah,
an
I am
extent,
too. Yeah, big time.
The Loki series, there was a female Loki. I mean, one of the Lokis was an alligator. I think. Like, come on, let's.
I like the
just
second
write
season of
a
Loki.
good character.
Yeah.
Like Andor had a variety of great characters.
Andor,
Like
what a series!
Like what? So just write it well. So I'm not sure if all the early hatred for FF is justified or it's just, let's face it, in a lot of cases, angry men.
yeah.
I might try to wait
we'll
and pull
see.
off a double
We'll see.
dip.
Oh,
Hit both of them back to back. Superman. and
Yeah, well, I
Fantastic
can't. Yeah, I can't go to anything this weekend. My dad's an art walk, by the way. Quick plug.
Oh.
So I won't be going to anything this weekend. But I'd like to see at least one of those 2 in the theater.
Yeah.
It's
And
my
maybe F1.
Yeah, F1's great.
I do want. I heard Majot. I was, listen to Majot. He's like, it was the best sports movie he's
Yeah,
seen in
it's
years.
really good.
So.
It's good. I would get. It's great. It's really good, but don't expect too much from it. But I guess if you do see it in the IMAX, Haraney said the racing's the best he's ever seen.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And I've watched Talladega Nights. What's coming up on EST Afternoons?
Well, Christian Horner will join us in the first hour. We'll go through CFL Week 6. Obviously, the trade with the Edmonton Oilers, some F1. Red Light District 140. Is it Kassian Julian? I don't know.
Julian Grant.
Julian Grant.
Yeah. Ken Julian Grant.
Okay, so we're going to have him at 2:00. Ian Harrison from the Associated Press at 2:20, and then tee up Reed and Jay for their show at 3.
And then what you guys got? You got DJ King, and then
DJ King is on. Our Past the Pantry Athlete of the Week is I
like
believe
that.
a 10-year-old female BMX racer.
Okay, Ooh, 10 years old.
And we may or may not have. I'm still waiting to hear about Blake Fiddler
Okay,
from the Royal Kings who got drafted.
who took Fiddler?
Oh, who was it?
Remember?
Was it San Jose? God, I was just looking at it.
I
forget.
remember I thought he should have gone ahead of the Rombach kid, and I was a little bit
Oh,
surprised.
so
by that.
Seattle. Sorry,
Oh, that's right, 36.
Seattle. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll just have some laughs. Who
Okay,
knows?
perfect. EST Afternoons coming up here in just a matter of moments. Reed Wilkins show from 3 until 6 today. That's going to do it for me. I'm off tomorrow, off to Regina to do this Friday night football game. But I'll be back on Monday. Thank you for joining us on Two Guys a Goalie, brought to you by GS Construction. For Reed Wilkins, Joaquin Gage, Dustin Nielson. Stick around for all of our afternoon shows. Take it easy.